Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays.
Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Another episode of Wealth Coffee Chats. My name is Alex. I'm part of the financial planning team and also part of the 6-star team as well. So I hope you all had your coffee. I've got mine as always. So a little bit, a few sips down, but it's a great morning for it. So yeah, let's get into it and see how everyone is going. So, look, I don't know if you've been up early enough or not, but our good old friend DJ Trump has made a few announcements this morning. So that's something that I want to take you through. I did have a different sort of topic for you guys this morning. Really, just to share a little bit about how we speak to our clients around times like this where there's a little bit of uncertainty, there's a little bit of volatility in the market. But I think the announcements this morning will trump that, and perhaps we'll park that for another day, another morning. So we've got a couple of people jumping on, which is great to see. I've got Kevin here. Good morning, Kevin. All the way from Florida. So it sounds like you might be a little bit more familiar with the topic that I'm about to embark on. But let's dive into it. So it looks like my notes are already up. So if you're listening in, great. If not, as always, just jump on the podcast and have a look at the slides. I've got a couple of numbers in there for you to sort of reflect on. But if not, hopefully I can give you that verbal explanation if you're listening on a podcast. So I'll just go over into my slides now. And as always, a quick disclaimer, general advice only. So don't take this as advice. Go speak to your professional and make sure that whatever we speak about today, you go away, do your own research, speak to your professionals before applying it. This is all general. I don't know what you guys are doing, where you are, where your circumstances are. So this is just general information. So let's go into it. And what is today? So apparently it's Liberation Day. And what is it? What is Liberation Day? Well, in the US, DJ Trump, or Donald John Trump, has come out with his view, and I guess, quite expectedly, his view on how he sees the operations within the US and the rest of the world. And really, it's all about the tariffs that he has previously applied, which I'll get to in a second. But it's something that he's come in and he said his agenda is to make America great again. And as part of that, he has reviewed what the dealings are like with other countries. And his view is that, and I've got it there in quotes, he feels that they've been ripped off by other countries. So as a result, he wants to apply a few tariffs, mainly for the entire world, for all the goods that are coming into America, right? So, and I guess the point of that is to really bring work back to the US and get the jobs back in that area as well. So I've got good morning, Bunty. Nice to have you on board. Thank you. So again, why is it there, right? So it's for revitalizing American industry, correcting trade war imbalance, and like I mentioned, it's part of Trump's "Make America Great Again" agenda. So, what are the tariffs, right? What are they? So, he's made the speech earlier today, about an hour ago. So, I did sit through his dialogue and listen to it all. So, and there's sort of a couple of things that stood out. There's a lot more in there, but I guess the ones that are sort of making the headlines this morning are that there'll be 25% tax on foreign cars, which is no surprise considering that his mate Elon has his manufacturing in the US. So that means that essentially it's going to cost extra to buy imported cars from Europe or any other countries. So, but the one that I guess is the biggest one for us here in Australia would be really the ban on the Australian beef, right? So essentially his view is that, we are importing our beef into the US, but we're not actually taking any of their beef back, right? So as a result, he kind of stood up and pointed that out. And I believe it's effective from midnight daytime or our time. So essentially from tomorrow onwards, there'll be a ban on Australian beef, which will then mean that, they'll be relying on the beef that they kind of grow within the US. I kind of went away and quickly sort of had a look at, what is it that we do with Australian beef, because it's not an area that I follow on a daily basis. But just quick numbers there. We import about 350. I think it's billion. 350,000 tons of beef in the US, and previously there's been a cap of how much beef we can export without any tariffs applied to it, and that cap was around sort of early 400,000 tons. So we haven't really reached that, but now that has completely been blocked. So the other countries, the other countries have also fared a little bit. Obviously, China, I've got a little snippet here from one of the articles. China's got about a 34% tariff applied to them. The EU, so funnily enough, the EU, not the UK, since they broke up, 20%. And Australia and the UK, which are viewed as partners to the US, have got a 10% tariff applied on our goods. So that's a bit of a flat rate. So, but the biggest one, obviously, is the Australian beef that will be impacted. So I guess, if you consider, well, what does that look like, and what was the recent sort of event, I guess we can link it to something like the wine industry when China applied huge tariffs on Australian wine and what that did to the industry. So we'll wait and see what it does to the Australian beef industry and see the impacts of that into the future. So I think I already saw a tweet from Albo coming out and saying that it's not a very friendly sort of approach with the tariffs that Trump has come out with. But ultimately, if you follow the mandate that Trump has sort of been talking about, even into the election, he's always said that he'll be focusing on the American people and bringing jobs back into the country. So we'll see the impact of that over the next little while. So I kind of looked at that and I said, all right, well, have we seen this before? And the reality is, yes, we did. We sort of seen that in his first stint back in 2018 when he applied tariffs to the US. To China. And, that was quite a big sort of move back then. If you think about it, China supplies majority of the world with their goods. So, huge, the US would have been a huge importer of their goods. And, just high level things, there was some tariffs on steel, aluminum, depending where you are. And some other goods, electronics, furniture, auto parts, and washing machines and solar panels, right? So I guess I brought up this chart here as well, just for a reference point, because ultimately, what is happening at the moment, there's a lot of volatility, right? So we're having conversations with our clients who are somewhat worried to a degree about, well, what is happening, what does that do to our investment portfolios? And I am referring to this point here as well, obviously slightly different because it's at a greater magnitude now with the tariffs 2.0. But ultimately, I brought this chart up just to sort of illustrate the impact of the 2018 tariffs, which, if you look at it at a glance, you probably won't even know where it is, right? So if I look at, this big dip here, what is that? Well, that's the COVID period, right? So that's an evident one. What about another big dip? Well, we've got one here, which is sort of at the start of the chart, which is going back to the global financial crisis. So this is quite evident. So if I was to go back and look at, well, where's 2018? Where's 2018? Well, here it is. It's over here. So this drop here is essentially the impact of the tariffs, the original tariffs, I guess, on the market. So ultimately, the message here is that, yes, short term to medium term, there's going to be a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of volatility, purely on the back that there's not enough information to understand the actual impact of these tariffs on the broader market, right? So obviously, this the 2018 tariffs, they did sort of finish up at the end of that year, sort of start of 2019, which meant that the market, when that happened, you could see the market just rallied on the back of that, right? So there was a huge spike because there was a little bit of clarity around what is going to happen with tariffs moving forward. So again, if I bring it back to where we are now, so the markets are off about sort of 5 to 7% at the moment. This is just the Aussie market. The US market is sort of doing similar returns at the moment. So I've got a couple of questions here. Hey Tim, how are you, mate? Welcome. Yes, I'll get to do the inflationary stuff in the next slide, I believe. What do you got? Okay, the backlash. Yeah, the backlash from other countries. Yeah, and that's right. Yeah. Obviously, I'll jump into the next slide. So, what are the potential impacts from all of this, right? So, what Tim alluded to there is 100%. This might be at the start of the global trade war, which is essentially, other countries coming back and saying, all right, well, if you're applying this to us now, well, we'll apply something more to you as well. So if I go back a couple of slides, I've got this screenshot here of, what are the current sort of tariffs applied to the US versus what they're applying, right? So if you look at, like, let's just say China, they apply about a 67% tariff. I'm not sure if you can see it on that screen, but that's what it says there. And they are applying a 34% tariff back, right? So the way that Trump sort of put this together is that, this is a friendly tariff. We are still, within reason. We're not sort of going and applying tariffs at 100% to everything. So you can see that they essentially just lifted those percentages up in certain areas. And, everyone who's been sort of friendly with them, so the UK, us, Brazil, Chile, Turkey, Colombia, all sitting at 10%, right? So, yeah, essentially all other countries, right? So this, I'll be expecting to see some level of pushback, and we'll see what policies they come out with and what tariffs they'll be applying in return. Obviously, it's not a great thing for anyone because ultimately, what does that do? It increases prices, right? And when it increases prices, that means we see inflation pressures, right? So we've seen that over the last couple of years, post sort of COVID, where we had prices of goods skyrocket in certain areas, everything going up in price, due to various reasons, right? Liquidity, everyone were cashed up, shortages in certain areas. But ultimately, in this instance, with tariffs applied, it has to increase prices in certain areas, right? And we're probably not going to see that straight away in this week, but over the next couple of weeks or months, we'll see that flow through to us as well, and we'll likely see that at the retailers everywhere. So, and whenever these things come out, I'm expecting a very volatile period in the marketplace as well, more so than what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. We don't know where it's going to go, right? This could be viewed, okay, well, now we know what we're playing with, so let's reset and move on from here. Or it could be, well, now we are in a complete dire situation, so let's sell off the equities and move on somewhere else, right? So I guess one of my original topics for today was really to talk about our conversations with the clients. And when we do have those conversations, one of the key points there is diversification, right? So you don't want to be focusing just on equities or be in one particular asset class. So you need to have different exposures, right? Different exposures allow you to then manage your risk. So, for example, I'm expecting that the gold prices will continue to rise as a result. So if you've got that exposure there, well, this should be elevating your portfolio. Whereas if you've got 100% sitting in equities or close to, then you're going to be impacted through the volatility. And if I look at the markets, it's never a straight line. It is a more straighter line over a longer period of time. So this particular chart is over about 15 years more. Let's just say close to 20 years. So you can see the pattern over a longer term. And again, I said this last time, but time is, I guess, your best friend to give you the opportunity to get the best result for your investment, whether that's equities, whether that's property, whether that's something else. Time will most likely provide you with the best result. So hence why all of the investments that you do should be long-term as well. So I guess just to recap, just real quick, what are the tariffs? Well, 25% on foreign cars. In Australia, we stopped manufacturing cars a little while ago, so it's not going to impact us from that perspective, but it will impact us in other areas. Obviously, Australian beef, like I mentioned earlier, that looks like there's going to be a bit of a stop to that for a little while, and we'll find out what the impact of that will be. I don't expect it'll be great. And then various countries having their tariffs increased, and only the I guess the friendly countries that the US sees that are kept at 10%. So that's about it. That's about a quick snapshot of what has happened this morning, right? So it's a very interesting time. We've been there before, and let's go through this and find out what impact it will have. But again, my message is let's stay on track. If you've got your strategy set, then you should be speaking to your professional about, well, how does that fit into my strategy? And, is there anything that I need to change? So ultimately, this could also be an opportunity for some of the investors out there, right? Because obviously the prices have now come down over the last sort of month or so. As a result, there could be some great opportunities to buy and hold into the future. So again, speak to a professional. And I hope this little update gave you some insights, and I'm sure that there'll be heaps more info coming throughout the day. So that's all from me today, guys. Enjoy your day, and don't forget to drink your coffee. See you later.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6 Star team here at positivementor.com.au.